What's going on, YouTube? I know it's been a little bit since I've kind of posted any more content, so thought I would take some time since it is 4th of July weekend. Obviously, well, the time of this video, it is 4th of July. Been kind of working on a few things on my DR10 and Slash, so thought I'd kind of give a little breakdown. This may be a little bit of a lengthy video, but here we are. So obviously you can see the C7 body is on the DR10 here. Just kind of switching it up a little bit, trying to try something new. I've been trying to fight the wave of C7 bodies out there, but inevitably I just got one because they're relatively cheap and they are obviously aerodynamic. So here you see it. I just painted it fire red, and I also built myself my own wing like I've showed in the past. So it's pretty basic. Sorry, I'm trying to get my new little area set up here. So, but yeah, nothing fancy, just basic. I'll kind of pull off the hood here and kind of go over a couple of changes. Let's pull it off here. So, kind of go over the car. So, as you can see, it is still pretty basic DR10 chassis. Kind of start from the front to back here. So, what I did have to do is trying to change focus. So, right here in the front shock tower, obviously I got rid of the stock mounting bracket tree, and I just took the body posts that go here and just kind of makeshift drilled them through the bumper, just because on the Corvette body, if you've ever had this issue, the holes were kind of in this vicinity and there was no real way to mount it, so just kind of put them down on the front bumper there, and voila, just kind of ingenuity, I guess. I did redo the front shocks. I did add a little bit of a limiter up in the on top of the I think it's on the shaft and the piston on the inside, internal limiters, and then I have external limiters just in case when this car does slow down, it doesn't drag the body too bad. It still drags it. I just need to update the limiters. So that is that. And then as you can see, I'll flip the car around here. I am running a DRK now. I finally found one online and I was able to snag it and put it in here. I did buy a 3D printed mount for everything, and it fits nice and snug. I've been working on my soldering, and I was able to put some 4mm bullets on here for the battery. I am using the CNHL 8000 milliamp 200C burst 100C rated batteries, just to get a couple runs out of them. What I did in my recent cash days was I have 4 of these batteries, and what I was doing is I had 3 on deck fully charged, and then I would do about 1 run out of 1 battery, take it off, charge it, throw another fresh one in there, and just kind of rotate them that way, just so I'm not putting too much of a strain on the battery itself and kind of wearing out the cells internally. That's just what I've been doing recently, just to kind of test out something. It's worked pretty good. I haven't had any super unbalanced cells inside the battery. What did I do? I tested it last time and it was pretty even. And I have on my Reedy 510R program card, I have a port on the side just to check the balancing after every run. Just to kind of keep an eye on things, just so things don't go super haywire. And let's see what else I've done since I haven't been on here in a while. Oh, I did buy a new 3D printed shock tower extension, I guess, just off of Amazon, or sorry, eBay, just to get the shocks vertical, well, slightly vertical. As you can see, I am still running the power strokes in the rear. They've been working out pretty good. I do have my fan back here. I have my 3.5 turn Reedy still intact. One thing I have been noticing, I actually got this car from a buddy of mine, and I didn't really know or ask how long he's actually had the car. So I went out a couple of weeks ago, and I was doing some test hits, and for some reason the car shot straight towards the curb, and I was like, what the heck went on? And it wouldn't move. It was bound up somewhere. And I walk out, and ended up breaking a dog bone right at the, not the cup side, not where the bone actually is, but on the hub side. It just snapped it right off. So maybe I was just thinking it's just one of those things. It just needed to be changed. So I went online, and of course you can't find 65 millimeter dog bones anywhere. So after just doing some research, I found some 66 millimeter. I can't exactly remember what they actually go to, but after doing some more research, I found something similar. I found some universal 65s, but they weren't team associated, so I didn't want to go with those. So I ended up finding those 66s. I ordered them. Lo and behold, when I get them, the actual dog bone diameter was a lot larger than the DR10. So I actually had to take a Dremel and round out the dog bone part. And after about 30 minutes on each side, I was able to round them out just enough and smooth them where they fit perfectly inside the cup. If anybody has any other suggestions how not to do this, please feel free to drop a comment below, or maybe a link if you can to maybe some 65 millimeter DR10 axles. I'd be happy to buy them if they're on a website somewhere, because they are very hard to find. I didn't really notice that, but yeah, so that's the story there. That's the only real drawback that I've had with the car. I have been able to tune the car with the DRK. And what I'm learning and noticing with this DRK is it takes a lot of know-how to do all of the settings. I don't have the Wi-Fi module. I've been using the web version to the DRK, and it's been working pretty good. It doesn't give you all of the functions and features as the Wi-Fi module does, but I'll keep taking a look at it. Maybe if I win another cash days, I'll get that sucker mounted up in there and do some tuning that way. I did buy the USB link from Macklin, but for some reason it's not loading to my phone. It's not recognizing the ESC for some reason. So if anybody else has had that issue and found out a different way to get around that, to let me know. As for gearing, currently that's kind of a weird lighting situation here. So currently I am running an 8416. I did do my last cache days recently with an 8417, and after doing the data logs after each run, it was about 80,000 RPM. So I'm right around the peak, peak power range for the motor itself. So I've noticed on the 3.5, it likes to live around the 80 plus RPM range. So I'm trying to work with different gearing and trying to figure out what's the best sweet spot for this, and also retuning the can timing as well to get that optimal performance range. So, but yeah, other than that, that's pretty much the major updates with the car. As far as anything failing or any sort of upgrades, I will go over this. I did upgrade my receiver in both my 13.5 and this car. And I ended up buying a Noble MB4, I believe, for this car. I'll actually fire it up here, show you some of the parameters. So here is basically your main screen. Whenever you get on when you pull up the screen here, so it actually shows you your throttle. So if I pull the trigger here, it goes right there, and obviously your steering left to right. I do have it minimized 50% basically each way, so because you don't really need a whole lot of steering going down the 132. And oops, let me back up here. And I did have to go through and update both receivers on both cars. And what I got was this right here. If you've ever did any updates on this MB4. So this right here actually is the basically throttle delay to ramp in the power. So even if you have no delay or any deadband in your ESC, you can turn all of that off basically and use just the remote to ramp in the power. So I'm actually gonna bump up the speed here. So just say 1 second. So the bottom one represents what it should be, and the top one basically represents the top new setting. So 1 second. So if I go full throttle, it's basically going to take a full second to get to full throttle. And then obviously if you back this down to half a second, it just ramps it in that much sooner. So I've been playing with that just to kind of get a good rollout and not shock the tires too bad if it's a low traction area. If it is a low traction, just bump it up a couple of seconds or half a second or however much you want. I'm not really sure how high it goes as far as seconds, because obviously I'm not going to spend the time up that high, but other than that, yeah, this is what I've been working with. I have, if you come back here and go to models, you can actually choose. So right now I have my Outlaw in 13.5. So those are the two. So if I want to switch it, just hit 13.5, go to yes, and it basically just switches it. It'll tell you right here at the top, 13.5. So, but yeah, this is an awesome remote. I'm a big fan of balling on a budget. So I was looking at my budget and I was like, man, what can I find for that $250 range? As far as a radio, I looked at the Spectrums, I looked at the Sandwalls, I looked at Futaba, and I just kind of came across this one. I guess it was the newest friendly budget top of the line that I could find. And this is actually cool because this actually can go in the front. It can go, if you're left-handed, if you're right-handed. Actually here on the bottom, actually even shows you the different degrees if you want to get that technical. And there's a lock screw if you want to lock it. But yeah, and then this has a battery charge at the top. So if I wanted to see how it says TX, so down here at the bottom, I'll press this little button. It has a 4,300 milliamp hour battery at the base, and it charges the internal batteries on the remote. Boom, you just get extra life. I haven't really killed it, just because every time I kind of go out, I recharge the battery. Every so often, I'm trying to get in the habit of letting it go down and then recharging it. That way the battery's not used to being at 100%. It's just like a cell phone. It's always best to let the phone die all the way down as low as it can go and then recharge it. Kind of gets a better battery circulation and charging there. So thought I would walk through that. If you have any questions on that or want any more content around tuning with a remote, let me know. I can do a whole video on that. So yeah, that is the Outlaw car at its current state. Back to the axle. I actually went out and tested yesterday, and lo and behold, the previous axle that broke was on the passenger side, and first hit out, I went out and I broke the driver's side. So I still ran a 6.1 at 57 with a broke dog bone, so that was fun. What else? Trying to think if there's any other major updates that I've done to this car besides just lowering it. I am talking with a good buddy of mine, Corey Graham over at Graham Racing Products. He is going to shoot me over his new carbon fiber, basically single flat bar with a single wheel at the back. If you're looking for a wheelie bar for your DR10, please feel free to reach out to him on Facebook, Corey Graham Racing Products. He has the hookup on those. He ships on a regular basis. He's American made, so that is a good second option, or I guess first option if you have a stock wheelie bar. If you're looking to upgrade the wheelie bar aspects, this one has done me well. The RCRI 10-inch, I haven't had any issues with it. I don't think I've actually broken anything on it so far. I had a Jake's Performance Hobby Wheelie Bar, which is also a great second Wheelie Bar for me that I have just as a spare. The only thing is I just don't like how triangular it is. I like the, those nice swooping element. And it kind of, to me, it just kind of looks a little bit better. So, but yeah, I will put down the, I forgot one thing. So one thing that I have been doing is after each run, pretty much taking a microfiber towel, and using the good old Simple Green. And I've been kind of bad and not been using this stuff after each run. I was just in the mindset of no prep. I don't need any prep. I don't need any cleaner or anything. I was just never cleaning my tires. But after finally doing my due diligence and at least trying it, I have definitely seen more consistent runs out of my car. Obviously, this helps clean the tires. As you can see, I just kind of ball it up in fours and just use a corner and then wipe down the tires. And it does leave them a little sticky, a little tacky. So that way, your tires are nice and prepped for the next round. I am testing out some theories on tire prep itself. So I'm gonna try to do a video just on that as well. But after all is said and done, so far, this car has done a 2.4 at 62 miles an hour on GNSS. So those are usually about a tenth slower. So it's about a 2.3 car at the moment, which is far better than where I came from when I actually got my GNSS. I actually tested the car and I was in the 2.7s and I couldn't break it to save my life. And finally, after some tuning and after some, cleaning the tires and a little bit of prep and all that stuff, it actually got me down to a 2.6 and then a 2.5. And now I ran a 2.4. So just slowly but surely trying to get in that lower 2.2s, 2.3s. I do have 2 motors coming in the mail that should be here next week, a new 13.5 and a new Outlaw motor. I will do another video on those once I get them in, just to kind of go over what I'm going to be doing, what I've done to them, and kind of looking to hopefully do some better times, or hopefully it can get me down in the 2.3s on a GNSS or 2.2s. That'd be even better. But again, I am using just a tubbed DR10 chassis, which is obviously nothing wrong with it. But I'm trying to push the limits to this tub chassis to see if I can get it down to those 2.2s, 2.3s without going to carbon. But eventually, I probably will get a carbon chassis just for weight. So I will drop this puppy off and bring on the 13.5. Whoops, that was a lot louder than I meant to be. So here is the 13.5 at the moment. I have painted up a new body for it, and it does sit relatively nice and low. No crazy drama. Clear windows, obviously Spastics candy yellow with some silver flake. And I'll pull off the hood here, since I've been trying to do this competitively recently. So here it is, 13.5. I have gone back and forth on rear motor, front or mid motor, and I do love the mid motor configuration just because of all the weight that I have up front. It still weighs the same. I did do a local cash days at a track here in Texas, and I weighed it in, and it was 2,100 grams with the body on. So that was with the rear motor configuration. So I literally just took the transmission, flipped it, bolted it back down. Obviously, the weight's still the same. I just rearranged the weight that's going to be in the car. Obviously, with this motor in the rear and then the battery down here in the tray, there's, about 70% of the weight is over, half back. And then there was really nothing in the front. So what I was, trying to get to that fast range, the front end will start to float. And then, if you've done this multiple times as far as testing, as soon as that air gets underneath there, this thing's just going to go straight back. So I went and tested out yesterday the new, or I guess new old configuration for the mid motor, and it did way better. It felt like it wanted to flip, but it just couldn't because of all of the weight. That's why I do like these long packs as far as batteries, just because you get a little bit of longevity out of them. I think personally, and it's easier to put all of the weight kind of over the front tires, so it's not going to do that parachuting effect. So I still am running. Well, actually, I'm running my Reedy. Let me flip the camera here. I am running my Reedy 510R here in the bottom of the chassis. I have my receiver down below there, and I resoldered all new wires on this ESC. It's weird. It came with 13 gauge wire, which is fine. I don't think it's a big deal. But I just ordered my own 12 gauge just off Amazon. I think it was like $25 for 2 spools, red and black, and resoldered everything on the board here. So all new wire there, and I was talking with a good buddy of mine, and we were talking about those sweet spots in these 13.5 cars, because all these motors have them. I am running a Phantom Nick Bell tuned 13.5, and this motor actually came from Nick at 40 degrees set on the can. Obviously, that's the most kV and it's the most optimal range that the motor ran with. But obviously, I think that's unloaded. So I mean, there's no real. There's no tires, there's no transmission behind it. So what I was doing was, I was back to the story. My buddy and I were talking about that sweet spot, and I went out yesterday, tried, different can timing. I tried different gearing, and I ended up going with about 30. Well, right here it's kind of hard to see, but 37 degrees of total timing for this gearing. I'm running a 6932 on the car currently, and I have a little bit of slip on it, and it ran great. It ran a 3.0 at 42 miles an hour, and that's about where I kind of petered out with my Trinity as well. So it's a consistent 2.9 car on a timing system. After one of our last cash days, that's what I ran, got in the finals. So just kind of give you some ideas of what this configuration runs on a timing basis versus GNSS. As you can see, these tires were cleaned, and you can see they're picking up all kinds of stuff now. But this is kind of what they look like once they're pretty clean. But you can hear how, kind of once these things get hot, I mean, these things hook pretty good. So, but yeah, that's the 2 cars. What I've kind of been dealing with since my absence, I guess, on YouTube. So thanks all the new subscribers that I've got recently. I'm gonna try to, like I've said in every other video, I'm gonna try to do some more content. I'm definitely going, once I get my new motors, I'm going to do a comparison with those and kind of go over what I'm going to be putting in my 2 cars, maybe go over gearing a little bit, but that'll be for a later date. But yeah, thanks again for the new subscribers, all the comments that I've seen lately. I try to get to them as fast as I can and as often as I can. So, please feel free to drop a like, a subscribe if you haven't already, and of course, leave a comment for any sort of content that you'd like to see. But thanks, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.